I'm there.
I did not mean to click that. We are not, we don't have to record. Was that me or was that you?
That was you, but we'll start. That was good because I wanted to start the recording anyway. But first, why am I not finding? I'm so confused on why I can't find Paula. Oh, here we go. I will make you co-host too. All right. Welcome everyone to the next session of the 2022 Q Up Conference. This one is on My Circus and My Monkeys, sharing what we've learned through simultaneous QM reviews. Paula McDougald and Brandie Benton, you have the power now to share your screens and we can get started. So welcome.
Hey everyone, again, our apologies for showing up a few minutes late today. I'm Brandie Benton and I'm the Deputy Superintendent over Curriculum Instruction and Professional Development at Virtual Arkansas. I have with me today my good friend and colleague, Paula McDougald. I'll let her introduce herself too, but we're going to be the ringmasters for this session today.
Hey, I'm Paula McDougald. I am the lead course design and development specialist here at Virtual Arkansas, and I'm excited to be here with y'all today.
And I have to give credit to Paula for our slides. When she came up with this theme, My Circus and My Monkeys, as the theme for our session, which is about, coordinating those simultaneous QM reviews, it does feel a little bit like herding cats or chasing monkeys. She put together this really cool slide deck. She is the person at Virtual Arkansas who makes all things pretty. And so when we need something to look really, really cute, we can send it to Paula and she puts her design skills to use and creates all the graphics and slides for us. So she's our, again, person who makes all things pretty. And before we get started, and I know we may be running a little bit late, but I did want to tell you all a little bit about Virtual Arkansas. We're the state virtual school for our state. We are not a virtual school, but nationally, that's how we're classified. So we are under the Department of Education umbrella, and we are provided with partial funding through a grant from the Department of Education that allows us to provide supplemental instructional and course access to public school districts throughout the state. We have about 130 full-time Arkansas certified teachers, and primarily we serve students who are in brick and mortar classrooms through partnerships with public schools. We do have a significant population of students who are off campus and fully online as well, but those students, just like those students in those brick and mortar classrooms, belong to their local school district. So we provide direct instructional services through our teachers. We provide content to public schools who want a blended option through our content and our courses. And at this time, we have almost 200 courses available for schools to use and to enroll their students with through Virtual Arkansas. The rest of our funding comes through our partnerships with local schools who pay us a per enrollment fee per student. And that's who we are. We've been around for a long time, but as we currently exist, about, I believe, 11 years. And so we've been around a while. We have about 36,000 enrollments annually. I am curriculum instruction. My department works very closely with Paula's department, their design and development. We are like a married couple. We work together to ensure that our courses are of the highest quality. And we are very, very strong advocates for quality matters because quality is an emphasis that we place at the forefront of our mission. It's one of our core values as well. And so not only do we require that our teachers are highly qualified and they're certified to teach within their disciplines at their grade levels, but we also require our teachers to get an online teaching license, which is a new license within our state. And we ensure that our courses are of the highest quality by partnering with Quality Matters and getting our courses peer reviewed and certified. And so at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Paula, who will share our process with you all.
Thank you, Brandie. So I first want to give just a slight apology that I am looking to my left a little bit today. That's because I have a brand new setup of monitors in my office and things are not quite arranged the way they need to be just yet. And so I came in today and things are not quite the way they were when I left the last time I was here. And so anyway, if I'm looking off to the left a little bit, I apologize for that, but I am seeing your faces when I look to the left. So I wanted to start by telling you a little bit about our attractions this year with our QM reviews. So a little history. Over the 2020 and 2021 school years, so the 2020, 2021, 2021, 2022 school years, Virtual Arkansas was awarded a special grant from our state Department of Education to design and develop approximately 75 blended career and technical courses for use across our state. These courses were designed and developed in 2 stages. We affectionately call those stages the first 40 and the next 35 for lack of better description. So in those 2 stages, part of that grant funding was to submit the first 40 courses that we created for QM review. In a normal year, Virtual Arkansas allocates resources to submit 10 courses for QM review. So you can imagine that coming out of a global pandemic, nothing really is normal anymore. And so when we think about a normal year submitting 10 courses, nothing's normal anymore. So during the process of those next 35 that I mentioned being designed and developed, the first 40 were submitted for QM review in addition to those normal 10. So that means, with all those numbers being thrown around, that Virtual Arkansas actually submitted a total of 50 courses for QM review simultaneously. Those featured attractions included everything from German and French courses to algebra and pre-calculus to things like hospitality administration and shielded metal arc welding. So we had quite the variety of courses that were submitted at one time and definitely gave QM a little bit of a challenge in putting together teams for some very unusual blended CTE courses. Each performance featured our Virtual Arkansas teachers as our course representatives. So every good ringmaster knows that a lot of training is off limits to the general public. So in circus terminology, that's called the backyard training. There are things that have to happen behind the scenes to prepare the featured attractions for public viewing. So let's talk a little bit about the backyard training that we did for our QM reviews. The first part of that is for the stars of the show or our course reps. As Brandie mentioned, all of our Virtual Arkansas teachers are required to complete the QM K-12 rubric training. So not only does this give our teachers a bird's eye view of the QM rubric process and the QM review process, it brings a new level of understanding to our Virtual Arkansas standard of quality, or the why behind many of our design and development processes and the decisions that we make. To be eligible to serve as a QM course rep, our teachers had to have successfully completed their QM rubric training. Another portion of their backyard training is to participate in some pre-review professional development. So our course reps have to complete a synchronous PD refresher of the QM process, the QM rubric, and just kind of some strategizing to get them ready to serve as a course rep. The final stage of their backyard training involves an internal review of the course. So this is kind of a dress rehearsal. You know, that event that brings together the 2 worlds, the backyard prep and the featured attraction. Well, that's sort of what our internal review process is. So in addition to our course reps having to do some training, the courses themselves, or the acts, have to go through some training also. That is that internal review process. So our course reps spend some time internally reviewing the course as it is prepped for QM submission. When we first began submitting courses for QM review a few years ago, our internal review process was actually a standalone event that took place independently of the formal review. We found that wasn't always especially effective, particularly if there was a substantial gap in time between that internal review being completed and the course actually going through the formal QM review process. And so over the past couple of cycles of QM reviews, we have found that our internal review is much more effective and efficient if it takes place as a part of our QM prep process when we are getting courses ready to submit. So our QM course reps follow a very detailed series of tasks or steps to prepare a course for QM submission. These tasks include things like creating and curating required documentation that's needed for the QM review. It includes a close review of the course alignment. Is the course aligned with state or national standards? Is that alignment evident at each level of the course? Our QM course reps take a really in-depth look at the course objectives and their measurability. Are they using measurable action verbs that align with the associated instruction and the associated assignments? Our QM course reps work to confirm the currency and the availability of any of the instructional activities that are included. They look very closely at course accessibility, readability, and many of the other details that are going to come up in a QM review. So there's quite a bit that's done behind the scenes to get ready to submit these courses for QM review. So once that backyard training is complete, we're ready for that featured performance. We're ready to have that QM course rep involved in the active review process, and the course itself is ready for the review team to take a look at it. So our featured performance. We know that there are many considerations for featured performances. There are always essentials, things that must be done correctly for the coveted crowd or QM approval. We've learned with our simultaneous QM reviews especially that there are three main essential considerations for us to keep in mind. So first, we have seen the importance of providing high quality templates for key documents that are used by the QM review team through an active review of a course. Two of those templates that have been especially important to us are our QM worksheet our course worksheet template and our amendment response form template. So I've linked examples of those to our slides that you guys can access through your registration. The worksheet template in particular has been extremely helpful because it helps our course reps to feel confident that they're providing all of the necessary detail that's needed for their QM course worksheet. It helps them also feel confident that they're answering general organization type questions correctly, and to be sure that they're able to locate all of the documents that are necessary for submitting the worksheet in one setting. So they don't have to work on it a little bit, go gather up some things and come back and work on it a little bit more, dig into the worksheet a little more and see, oh wait, there was something else that I needed, or I need to know where to find this for my organization. They have all of those things together at one time in one place, so they're ready to submit all in one setting. Very similarly, if a course receives a not met rating and needs to go through an amendment process, we found that providing a template for that process for the course rep or working with the course rep to fill in a template allows them to feel a lot more confident in submitting their amendment response form. So they know for sure that they have fully addressed any QM standard that was marked not met, and they're confident in the evidence that they're providing to support those revisions that have been made. Another really essential consideration that we have found is encouraging our course reps to be flexible. So they need to be understanding of their QM review team. Some teams and some courses undergo a QM review with very few questions. with very little input from the course rep. It just kind of flows and happens. There's little communication from the QM review team. That active review phase goes by very quickly, and all of a sudden you have a response. Some courses and some review teams need a more conversational approach, and they need small fixes along the way to make sure that they get to that place of meeting QM standards and QM approval. So our course reps need to be available. They need to be flexible. They need to be concise and detailed at the same time with their communication. They also need to rely on their QM coordinator for assistance in answering any questions that they're not sure about. And last, but definitely not least, it's really, really important to very carefully time your QM course submissions. So when I say that, I mean, especially if you're submitting multiple courses at one time, you should really consider the time of year that you submit those courses and how that falls into your organization's calendar and your organization's schedule for the busier times of year. For example, if you submit at the very beginning or the very end of a school year, it could be super overwhelming and could even have delays that could affect your next term start. So it's important to think about a really doable timeline for the course prep. To overestimate the time that the review process will actually take. And then also to be sure to consider the potential for a long amendment phase, because sometimes the amendment phase can take a while. You have up to 14 weeks for that process. And so it's important to consider that when you're thinking about what's a good time to submit one course or a lot more than one course. So we know that some things, some performances, some QM reviews are very quick. They're very simple. The course just sails on through. There's little communication. It's just a breeze of an experience. But then sometimes you have a rope that breaks. So no matter how much backyard training you complete to get your course ready and to get your course reps ready, no matter how many times you practice or perform an act or how many times your featured presentation may be seen or your course may have been used, at some point, something's going to come up that isn't quite right. So what do you do when challenges arise, especially if multiple challenges arise at the same time? How can you handle that? So I'm just going to say challenges will arise. It may not be with every single course. It may not be your first course that you submit for QM review. You never know when that one course is going to come up that's going to have a challenge, but challenges will arise. So reality is, no matter how much work you put into it, no course is perfect and review teams are human. So it's best to be prepared and be proactive for how you can work through challenges. You can frequently head off challenges by being prepared as the QM coordinator. Know your courses, know your documentation, be organized, know where to find evidence to address common questions in your courses, and prepare your course reps for those same things. This could mean that you need some sort of frequently asked questions document or even some review team guide to help your review teams understand where to find things in your courses in an efficient way and an effective way. It's also important to keep in mind when challenges come up that the goal for QM is for all courses to meet QM expectations and become certified. This means that the review team, the chair, is your friend. If you're unsure or you disagree with a question you've received or feedback you've been given, ask for clarification. That's why they're there. A collegial discussion with a common goal of course improvement and QM approval is not a bad thing. Those discussions can be fantastic. They can help you find ways that you can continue to improve your process along with improving your course. If you have any doubts about the conversation that you have with your chair or you're unsure that you're on the same page, reach out to QM. Their team is amazing and they will move mountains to help you to be sure that your course meets that coveted QM approval. You should also be willing to listen to what you learn from each challenge and use what you learn to make your future reviews smoother and better. So you've done all of this backyard training. You've gone through your featured performance. Then what happens? Well, every great performance has some sort of reflection. After all, the way you remain great is by knowing what it takes to stay that way and to continue to push yourself to be better. So it's important to consider the future impact. Consider the impact that each QM review experience can have on your organization and on your future course design. If your desire is to be the best or to continue to be the best, QM can absolutely help you get there. But you have to consider what you did well and want to do that again. You have to be cognizant of what needs to be done before you use your course again. So maybe the course goes through the amendment process and some things are done to make that course fantastic and it's ready to go. Maybe the course received a MET rating, but you got some feedback that could make your great course even better. Do those things before the course is used again with students. Your students are only going to benefit from doing that. Also, consider any takeaways that could be applied to your next QM review. So anything that could make the next experience smoother and better is worth a second look. So we've been really fortunate in submitting 50 courses for QM review to have had fantastic experience. We've had a few ropes break. We've worked through those things. We've learned so much along the way with each of those reviews that our next set of submissions that are coming up very soon will definitely be impacted and definitely have some things done differently in our prep process just to be sure that it's even smoother and even better than it was with these 50 that we put through this year. So just to finish up, we've all heard that saying, not my circus and not my monkeys. Well, what we learned through submitting 50 courses at one time is that when your organization submits courses for QM review, especially several courses at one time, those course reps, that review team, those courses can definitely turn into a circus, and they actually are your monkeys. So what you do with that circus and those monkeys is totally up to you, and how those circuses and those monkeys impact your organization is also up to you. So let that impact be great. Let it make you great, and let it make your courses be even better. So I want to hand it over to Brandie for some just final comments and any questions that you guys may have.
Thank you, Paula. And I think the key to our success has been the training that our design and development team has invested in, and the structure that they've provided for these reviews to be successful. They spend a lot of time on the front end preparing our teachers to not only design high quality courses in the beginning, but also to understand those QM principles and to just be very aware of what's going to be expected. So from the onset, our courses are well designed and aligned to the expectations QM is going to be looking for. And we attribute that again to our fantastic design and development team here at Virtual Arkansas. And Paula leads that work. She's our lead D&D person. So thank you, Paula, for that. And at this time, I just want to thank you guys for your attention and open it up for questions, comments. We're happy to stick around for the full duration of the time that we have left and answer any questions that we may not have answered in the presentation today. Thank you, Cindy. If you don't have any questions, you can look for us in Tucson. We have a poster session. We'll be sharing some of the same information, and we just look forward to seeing everyone in person and getting to visit about this process and all things QM related.
Thank you guys so much.
And I will say thank you, Paula and Brandie for your presentation. There is a way to connect to feedback survey that is in the portal, the attendee portal. And thank you all for attending the 2022 QUp conference. The closing session will happen at the bottom of the hour. So thank you, and thanks everybody.
Thank you.